All right, welcome in. Moose with the box. LSU drops game one against Tennessee. Uh, what was it? 6-3. Final score. Rally comes up short in the ninth inning. LSU loads the bases, pushes a few across, some help of a wild pitch, and a little dribbler that was just tough hop for the third baseman. But ultimately it falls short. They had plenty of opportunity offensively throughout the night and could never get a big hit. It's a story you've seen plenty. Um, they're 22-13, 3-10 in the league. Won't bury the lead. They really need to win a baseball game tomorrow because we know how they've done in game number threes. It's been very bad. You're just at a really big, really big pivotal crunch time. I mean, there's really not many words to say about it. I mean, it's just we've all sat down and we've watched the same game over and over and over again, week after week right now. They just very rarely have they been able to put it all together on a given night, and it's why you're 3-10. Like, you had positives on the mound tonight against the league's best lineup, arguably the best lineup in the nation. Like, you pitched well. Like, that's the type of outing LSU's been looking for on the mound. But when you got that, you didn't have good defense, and you got carved at the plate by a pitcher who had allowed 15 earned runs in his last two outings. Now, credit AJ Causey. He was awesome. Like, he was dialed. He looked like the guy who Tennessee had on the bump through the first half of the year, not the last 2 weeks. So you credit that guy. But, I mean, LSU, it's not like they didn't mount opportunity in the ball game offensively. They just couldn't get the big hit. And when the pitchers did make really good pitches, LSU didn't make the plays behind them and hung their staff out to dry. And, I mean, like, half of Tennessee's runs, half of the runs that Tennessee scored tonight could be tied back to LSU's lack of defense. Like, if you just make the plays behind your pitchers, you're in a position where a bloop and a blast ties the game in that hitter-friendly ballpark. Was the ball jumping there tonight? No, but you're still in that position where a bloop and a blast could potentially have tied the game if you make plays behind your pitchers, and you didn't do that tonight. The other thing that possibly puts you in is situations you had, like the eighth inning, like the ninth inning, when you had the bases loaded. That's a much higher leverage spot in a two-run game. Puts a lot more pressure on the opposing pitching staff than it does when you're down 6-1. So I mean, that's the crux of the issue for me tonight, is the lack of defense in the field. And it started with literally the first batter of the game. Like, the first batter of the game is Christian Moore, and he singles, to the shortstop side of second base. It's a little up the middle, but it's to the shortstop side of second base. Braswell ranges over. He has more time than he thinks. Like, yes, Christian Moore runs well, but he's coming from the right-handed batter's box. Braswell ranged fine, got to the ball in plenty of time, rushed the throw, pulls Jones off the base. Now, I know what many of you are going to say. That runner was erased on the fielder's choice. You're correct, but if you make that play and get the ground out on Christian Moore, Blake Burke is also retired on a ground out, and the home run you give up is a solo shot, not a two-run homer. It extended the inning. It is ultimately what it did. And that went down as a hit. That, in my opinion, could have gone either way. I didn't think he had to range that far, over to his left. But they ruled it a hit. But it's a play you expect an SEC shortstop to make, and that just started, kind of the problems for LSU in the field. When you want to talk, a little bit of offensive struggles, you look at the top of the third inning. That's where you start. By the way, smash the like if you haven't already, and get subscribed up to the YouTube channel. We're here through thick and thin, y'all, and it's been a lot more thick than it has been thin. And we're talking thick with like 5 Cs at this point. You go to that third inning, LSU loads the bases. Now, that's after, excuse me, you have the double by Braswell, which was a little bit of a break. You have a strikeout. Jared Jones extends the inning with a great at-bat. A great at-bat to draw a walk. And then Tommy White comes up, singles, gets LSU on the board, makes it a 2-1 game. Great at-bat by Tommy White as well. That's the situational hitting that you're looking for right there. The problem is you had Braswell at third already with less than an out and clean strikes out swinging. And that's what you can't have, right? But White picks up his teammate, drives in the run. Larson draws a great walk. And at that point, you have the bases loaded. And Mac Bingham up, who had been pretty good, but strikes out swinging. And that's just, okay, you star that inning. Like, yes, LSU got one, and they cut the lead in half, and that was really good. But you left the bases loaded, and you had 2 strikeouts with runners at third base, one of them with less than 2 outs. So, it's not a net positive there. Yes, you had the good situational hit by Tommy White, but you lacked the situational hitting from a guy like Paxton Kling, who didn't even need a base hit. He just needed to hit a ground ball to the right side of the infield. Shorten up and use the back side of the field there. But you punch. And kind of the same thing with Bingham, although he needed a base hit, obviously, at that point. You go to the bottom half of the third, and the first 2 guys reach. I mean, at that point, you've already flipped the Tennessee lineup. You end up loading the bases. You walk in a run, and then Tennessee gives you a gift. Like, the Vols gave you a gift, y'all. At the end of that inning, Curley pops up into shallow foul territory, like probably close to the edge of a few steps from the edge of the infield dirt and foul ground. And I mean, it's Burke of all people running home, tagging up from third, and Larson guns him down at the plate. So that was a questionable base running decision, and you got a gift. That could have been, and you could argue should have been much worse, but it wasn't, and it's a 3-1 game. You go to that 5th inning, though, man, and I want to take this moment. We'll credit Gage Jump. Gage Jump battled really hard tonight. What was his final line for Jump? Gives you 4 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, which is just, that's a load of crap. But whatever. Did have the 4 walks, but gutted through. Got you into the 5th inning. Didn't record it out, but got you into the 5th inning. Threw over 100 pitches, 60 of them for strikes. I mean, that's a pretty good ratio, y'all. He battled really hard against a tough lineup. Like, the thing that makes Tennessee so damn good, you can look at all the home runs, and that's awesome. They have 91 homers on the year. Great. Yes, they play in a small ballpark. They hit 14 home runs on the road against Auburn. They are a very powerful team, and that's awesome. The thing that makes them so good is their ability to work counts and hit for average. Like, the 338 team average that team has with as much power, the fact that they don't strike out. I mean, they struck out 11 times tonight, but you get my point. You normally see a team with that amount of power, you're thinking home run or bust. They aren't. They work counts, and they battled hard, had a lot of long at-bats, forced a lot of high-leverage spots, and really made Gage Jump work, and he worked really hard. He kept his team in the ball game, left when it was 3-1. The problem is that's when the defense in the 5th inning really started to rear its ugly head for LSU. You have the Dutton comes in, gets a tailor-made double play ball, but Josh Pearson can't turn it. You have a throwing error. That leads to a run, so that's a second run that the defense has cost you there. And then Amick, it's not Amick, it's Tears at the plate, I guess, at that point. And, he's down in the count 1-2. You have a perfectly executed breaking ball in the dirt, and it gets past Brady Neal. And then he inexplicably throws the ball away down the third base line. Like, an SEC catcher has to block that ball, and even if you don't, you have to have better awareness to not make that throw. And he made the throw, and it cost you another run. And then Dutton fell behind a hitter 2-0 and had to serve one up, and it got hit over the fence. Sam Dutton deserved a lot better than he got in that inning. Like, he deserved a lot better than he got in that inning from his defense. He came in and made the pitches to help you get out of that inning, and your defense let you down. And that was evidenced by what he came back out and did in the sixth. 3 up, 3 down, and no 3-ball counts. Like, it is what we talk about with Sam Dutton. He throws strikes. The kid has thrown 66% strikes for his entire career, and now the quality of those strikes has improved tremendously. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. When you look at how they use Sam Dutton early in this year, leverage spot after leverage spot after leverage spot, the fact that it has taken to the 5th series to get him mound time in conference play when your bullpen has been a sieve makes me want to pull my hair out. So hopefully, more Sam Dutton. And if he gets shelled, he gets shelled. But give me more Sam Dutton. 5 series to get him on the mound. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So I know they have their plan of how they want to attack guys. And they know more about baseball than I will. They've forgotten more about baseball than I know. And I'm not a coach and whatnot, but my gosh, when you use a kid the way they used him early, and you saw the execution, and he throws 66% strikes when all you're not being able to do is finish off hitters out of the bullpen. 5 series? That's a black eye. Like, that's a black eye. Speaking of black eyes, the 8th inning, the top half for LSU's offense. They loaded the bases again and got nothing. And that's kind of been the story. We already went over the 9th. Your rally fell short. And LSU left 10 guys on base. Not enough situational hitting. You look at it, they had 9 hits. They were very much scattered. Again, credit Stamos, credit AJ Causey, and credit Kirby Connell. They were really good. The changeup was an absolute weapon for Tennessee all night. The one positive that I will give you is the three new arms you saw. Sam Dutton, we just went over that. Aiden Moffitt was awesome. Like, we talked about this, now on 3 different shows? I think this week we talked about this. About Jay, because it was all the way back in his radio show on Monday when he said, we're carrying extra pitchers this week. And you immediately start to think, okay, who are those guys going to be? And you see the performances you got from the guys on Tuesday night. Okay, well, Aiden Moffitt could be one of them. Well, Sam Dutton definitely needs to be one of them. Cam Johnson, okay. And you saw those guys, and all of them were really good. Y'all, that was really impressive by Aiden Moffitt in the 7th inning. They stuck him in there against the top of that order. And he walks Christian Moore, but how about the strikeout of Blake Burke? The changeup he dropped on him to get the second strike was a thing of beauty. And then just blows a fastball right past him, and you have the strike him out, throw him out. He would walk Amick, but comes back and gets Kavaris Tears to strike out swinging 1-2. So that was, yes, you had the 2 walks, but you saw the fastball get up to 97. You saw a dandy of a changeup and a really nice slider. So you saw a lot of positives there. And going forward, let's see more Aiden Moffitt too, man. That was a big spot to put him in. And Cam Johnson, same thing. Again, against that lineup, for him to pitch around the single to Curley. And hey, question for the chat. What's the Pell score? I don't have it on or up. Y'all tell me the Pell score. So credit Cam Johnson. That was awesome, man. You saw a curveball from him. Noah Lejeune, 53-42 Pels or Warriors. So that's my one positive I have for y'all. Ooh, 10-point lead for the Pels. Let's freaking go. Lock up. So that's my positive. You're looking for emergence out of the bullpen. Maybe you got some there, but you're gonna need a lot more. It's what we started the show with. Hey, Scone. It's what we started the show with. it's very rarely all come together for them. Like game 1 against Florida, it all came together for them. Is that it? Like, is that it in SEC play? I don't even want to go with. I don't even really want to go with game 1 of Vanderbilt because you had a 9-0 lead and I mean you had to burn Griffin Herring in that game. So you finally got a good pitching performance. You left 10 guys on base, had no situational hitting, and your defense was awful. Let's talk about tomorrow. You want a bright spot? Here's the bright spot. You have Luke Holman going, and you didn't use Griffin Herring. And that combination for you has been your best path to winning conference games. You need it tomorrow because you've lost your last 5 game 3s. Xavier, State, Florida, Arkansas, Vandy. You need to win tomorrow or you bring sweep, strongly into the equation. And if you get swept in this series, I don't have to say it. You all know. So you need Holman. He's been awesome at home. He's had a couple black eyes on the road. Each of those road starts, the 10 hits against Mississippi State. Now, again, yes, his defense let him down, but the 10 hits against Mississippi State and against Arkansas, he battled, but he walked 5, right? And allowed 5 leadoff men to reach there. So you need him to not have black eyes. And it's going to be a really tough outing. I think the wind's going to calm down, so the Park should play more offensive tomorrow. I like LSU against Drew Beam tomorrow. I really do. They faced him one time. It was last year, and they hit him. LSU has done well against starting pitching this year. I think they will have a good plan. I think the lineup you will see will mimic a little bit more what you saw when A.J. Causey went in there. Like, I don't know how you justify having Michael Braswell in there at the current moment. It was great to see Milam get a hit in the 9th, so put him at short. The problem with that is I don't really know if you can justify having Josh Pearson in at second base right now, though. I really don't know if you can. You have to be able to turn the double play, and the bat isn't batting right enough. He's not swinging it enough to overlook defense. So do you go defense there and maybe throw it in a guy like Napolt? You're searching, or do you go back to Kucherak and let Milam play second base? Kucherak just looked really rough at the plate against McNeese State. I don't know if I want to throw him in there on the road against Tennessee. So we'll see. But I thought Larson hit the ball hard tonight. The line out in the first was really tough luck for him. But the double down the line was great. Opposite field shots. I thought he hit the ball well. I expect him to be in there, and we'll see about Kling. But Jake Brown could very well draw a start. Maybe I don't know. The main thing is I do like LSU to have some success against Drew Beam tomorrow. And we'll see what you can do against the bullpen. So it's going to come down to Luke Holman getting you off to a great start. And again, you have Holman, you have Holman, you have Herring. That's been your best path to win. If you win that, you should have a long list of guys available for game 3. That's another thing that Dutton, Moffitt, and Johnson did for you tonight. They lengthened your bullpen out. You didn't have to use Guidry or Ackenhausen or even Lure or Ulloa or any of those guys. They lengthened your pen. You have to get the next one to even have that conversation. And even if you do get the next one, I don't think you're going to win the series. But that is a caveat to throw out there. So maybe tomorrow we're talking about a win. It's your best chance with Holman and Herring set to go. So should be a really good competitive ball game. You just need a little bit more clutch hitting, and Oh, bring your gloves to the ballpark. I mean, good Lord, bring your gloves to the ballpark. All right. Y'all smash the like, get subscribed, share. All the good deeds are greatly appreciated here in helping us grow. Even in the losses, it's fun to come on here and talk baseball with all of y'all. We're going to sign off. I'm going to go watch the Pels. Flock up, and we'll talk tomorrow.